आगे सिग्नल आगे भैया।
थोड़ा एंट्रेंस पे लोगे ना?
नहीं नहीं अब नहीं, क्योंकि उधर सेटअप करना था ये।
you, rock you, rock you. Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the streets. Gonna be a big man someday. Got mud on your face, you big disgrace. Drinking your can all over the place. Singing, we will rock you, rock you. We will rock you, oh. Buddy, you're a young man, hard man, shouting in the streets. Gonna take on the world someday. Got mud on your face, you big disgrace. Waving your banner all over the place. Singing, we will rock you, oh. We will rock you, oh. Rock you. We will rock you, 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 we will rock you. Somebody better put your bag into your face. Singing, we will rock you, oh. We will rock you, oh. We will rock you, we will rock you.
Do you feel the same when I'm away from you? Do you know the life that I walk for you? We can turn around and we can give it up, but we'll take what comes, take what comes. Oh, the storms raging against us now. If you're afraid of falling, then don't look down. We took the step, we took the lead, and we'll take what comes, take what comes. Feel the wind in your hair, feel the rush way up here. We're walking the wire now. We're walking the wire now. We're gonna be higher. We're walking the wire. Look down low. Walking the wire. Now there's nothing else, just walk away. There's tears we cry, but those tears will fade. It's a price we pay when it comes to love, and we'll take what comes, take what comes. Feel the wind in your hair, feel the rush way up here. We're walking the wire now. We're walking the wire now.
riveting and hypnotizing, a perfect blend of concurrence, chime, and euphony. Please put your hands together for the mellifluous Lotus Choir.
Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world.
A very good morning to one and all present here. Today, I, Vivan Banerjee,
And I, Ira Katoch,
take immense pleasure to welcome you all to the inaugural ceremony of Lotus MUN 2023, Ambassadors of Hope.
to grace this event, we have with us our dazzling luminaries. We are pleased to extend the most cordial welcome to our chief guest of the day, Ms. Shama Jain, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
We are blessed to have our honorable school patron, the recipient of the Padma Shri and the Padma Bhushan, Dr. Shama Chona ma'am, under whose aegis we have blossomed magnificently. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. A very hearty and warm welcome to our most graceful and respected chairperson, Jaspreet Kaur ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. To say that we're thrilled to have you here with us today would be an understatement. Please join me in extending an inclusive welcome to the ebullient and exuberant Surina Uppal ma'am, member of the managing committee. Thank you, ma'am, for embellishing the occasion.
Lotus Valley International School is synonymous with our dearest founder, director, principal, Anita ma'am, the CBSE National Awardee, our mentor, guide, motivator, and a leader with exemplary astuteness and an eye for detail. Special welcome to our respected vice principals, Harvinder ma'am and Ritu Kaur ma'am, the senior school academic supervisor, Monica Jastrotia ma'am, faculty members, and mentors.
A warm and cordial welcome to all the delegates, accompanying teachers, executive board members, and all the other dignitaries who have come from far and wide to attend this conference. We are delighted and honored by your presence on this significant day. With ecstasy, we express our immense gratitude and appreciation to all the participating schools for their heartfelt response. We are indeed indebted to you all for helping us create a milepost in our efforts to spread across the message of peace and be ambassadors of hope. Mr. Kailash Satyarthi has said that the power of the youth is the commonwealth of the entire world. The faces of young people are the faces of our past, our present, and our future. No segment in society can match with the power, the idealism, the enthusiasm, and the courage of young people.
What an absolutely delightful thought, Vivan. But sometimes we alone cannot change the world. But we can surely cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. A small idea, a tiny step could one day lead onto something profound.
That's very true, Ira. Few will have the greatness to bend history itself, but each of us can work together to change a small portion of events.
Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve a lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy, and daring those ripples to build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Dear Vivan, don't you feel the aroma? The air in this auditorium smells of liberty, kindness, humanity, and everything looks so precious and beautiful.
Yes, indeed. This fragrance and synergy symbolize fellow feeling and hope that dispels darkness and illuminates our souls. One of the main reasons that we are here for 3 days is to become an ambassador of hope, not only for our own community, but for the entirety of humanity. And we are delighted to state that this one-of-its-kind conference aims at creating many such ripples of brotherhood and optimism, fueled by invigorating committees chaired by some of the most prominent executive board members in the circuit, and a kind of forum that capitalizes on our métiers so that nothing could seize us from equating with one another, and our unfailing courtesy and forbearance, even under great provocation, is a panacea for world peace. Now is the time to lift our policies from the quicksand of all kinds of injustice to the solid rock of human dignity. Lotus Valley International School Gurugram's Lotus MUN 2023 Ambassadors of Hope Conference intends to evolve and inculcate among young leaders of the world a set of values, attitudes, traditions, and modes of behaviors and ways of life based on respect for life, ending of violence, and promotion of peace and non-violence through education, dialogue, and cooperation.
Full respect for and promotion of all human rights and fundamental freedoms.
Adherence to the principles of freedom, justice, democracy, tolerance, solidarity, cooperation, pluralism, cultural diversity, dialogue, and understanding at all levels of society and among governments.
Having a global focus, our school embodies the idea of humanity as a single family, or rather, it is precise to say, the world as a global village. Under the astute leadership of our Director Founder Principal, Anita Malhotra ma'am, it has attained the top tier status as an exceptional institution. Anita ma'am, who believes that knowledge is a tool and wisdom a craft, assimilates both challenging and nurturing environments.
We are forever indebted to our Director Principal, Anita Malhotra ma'am, for her conducive guidance and defined and articulated vision. Anita ma'am's tireless efforts foreground us to cross-disciplinary skills whilst invariantly promoting peace and cultural diversity.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving us this opportunity. I sincerely request ma'am to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Arshia and Vivan. Good morning, honored guests, school management, faculty members, delegates, and all the participants, the ambassadors of hope who are here from renowned schools of Delhi, NCR, and other states of India. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to each one of you to this Lotus MUN 23 Ambassadors of Hope. I'm extremely delighted to have with us Ambassador Shama Jain, an IFS of the 1983 batch, as our chief guest. Madam Shama Jain is an Indian senior diplomat who served as the Indian ambassador to Greece, Panama, Costa Rica, and many other countries. Madam has also worked in the diplomatic positions as the Deputy Chief of Mission in Rome, political counselor in the US, and the permanent delegation of India to UNESCO in Paris. Ambassador Shama Jain was born in Jammu. She was awarded the Chancellor's Gold Medal in her graduation in political science at the University of Jammu. Received a double master's degree in philosophy and politics from JNU, a recipient of the prestigious UGC fellowship. It is indeed a pleasure to have you with us today, Ambassador Shama Jain, and on behalf of our school management and the student community, I welcome you most heartily. May I request Kaina Malik, the president of Lotus MUN, to present a token of our gratitude to the chief guest. We are honored to have with us as the head of the Lotus Valley family, our school patron, none other than Dr. Shyama Shona, a Padma Shri and a Padma Bhushan awardee with numerous honorable feathers in her illuminous caps. Indeed, an educationist par excellence, an epitome of dynamism, elegance, woman power, and one who is a complete institution in herself. Dr. Shona, your very presence inspires and enthuses each one present here. We are truly excited to have your benign presence. May I request Jhanvi Pandey, the Secretary General of Lotus MUN, to kindly present a token of our gratitude to Dr. Chona. We're extremely delighted to have with us our school management, Mrs. Surina Uppal, the member managing committee, and it's most definite that Surina ji, your fragrant smile and positivity really casts a spell on us, and your presence motivates us and gives us eternal happiness, because that's what you exuberate. May I request Shaurya Agarwal, Director General, and Anirudh Govindan, President IT, to kindly present a token of our gratitude to Surina ji. Heartiest welcome to the chief engines. Chief engines of today and tomorrow, the youth, the young minds, the ambassadors of hope. Your presence here is a reminder that our future drives in the succeeding generations. It is heartening to see such a large and enthusiastic young audience engaged in global issues. Together, each one of you represents Lotus MUN. There are more than 400 students from prominent schools across Delhi NCR and other parts of India who have come together to find solution to problems through constructive debate and exchange of ideas. At its core, this conference is not just about model United Nations, but about the immense capacity that each one of you hold in your heart and your mind. More specifically, it is a clear demonstration of the transformative power that the chief engines of today and tomorrow possess in bringing about a change in the world. Your presence today is a testament to your recognition and understanding of the vital role that the United Nations play in advancing global peace and prosperity, and I commend you for embracing its values. As you embark on your journey through life and career, I urge you to never lose sight of these values and to always seek out opportunities to contribute to the betterment of humanity. It is my hope and belief that this event will provide you with a deeper understanding of mechanisms that shape the United Nations. Allow me to share with you some words of wisdom from the eminent historian of international relations, Paul Kennedy. From his seminal work, The Parliament of Man. In his book, Kennedy posits thought-provoking questions that challenge us to address the myriad challenges that we face today, such as poverty, environmental degradation, human rights, abuses, population growth, etc., etc. He emphasizes that the only way to solve these issues is through collective effort and international cooperation. I hope Kennedy's words inspire you to take up the mantle and carry our hopes and aspirations for a better world into the future. I take this opportunity to appreciate the efforts put in by the entire social studies department of Lotus Valley International School, Gurugram, the entire team of teachers, the secretariat who worked relentlessly, selflessly, and devotedly with a single-minded dedication and discipline. I really marvel at the efforts put in by the vice principals, Ms. Ritu, Mrs. Harvinder Kaur, and the senior school coordinator, Monica Jasrotia, and the overall coordination done by Dr. Sakshi. The admin staff, thank you so much. Thank you for your kind attention, and I wish you all the best for the most stimulating 3-day conference. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Your words are no less than adages to each one of us. We will make every probable measure to permeate them into our actions.
I never teach my pupils. I only provide the conditions in which they can learn. These words by Albert Einstein must have been voiced for someone as visionary as Dr. Shama Chona ma'am, a revered school patron, Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan awardee, a renowned educationist and author whose foresight and dedication has always opened new doors. With our priceless interactions with Dr. Chona ma'am, we certainly strive to imbibe her values, her vigor, and her vision towards life. Ma'am, we'd request you to enlighten and enthuse us young minds by gracing the dais for the keynote address.
Assoiffés de connaissances, avec leur peur de la mort, leur peur de vieillir, leur peur d'être seul.
Good morning, and my apologies. What do you think I'm apologizing for? My apologies go to the young minds sitting here because we as adults have failed you. We have failed you because the peace that we want, the peace that you need to go ahead, learn, and be more in this world has been spoilt by the adults like me. You are the ambassadors of hope, and I'm sure this hope is almost yours because the world to be will be yours. And what we haven't succeeded in, you will actually succeed. They say, when you become an adult, you get adulterated. So all of you sitting here are fortunate enough not to be adulterated like those who are adults here. So what makes the world or the young grow up to be adulterated is my question. Is that question going to be answered in this MUN? And if it will be, then I would like to congratulate the principal of this school who, according to me, is not adulterated. And therefore, she has every right. Therefore, she has every right to hold the MUN here because thou shalt speak the truth and expect truth to be spoken because you speak the truth. There is peace here. There is love here. There is grandeur here. And all this is because we have a lady called Anita Malhotra, who is the principal of this school, and you have an example in her. You don't have to go to the United Nations to find that example. You will find that example here. Coming back to the creator of this school, she represents the society, the Lotus Valley Society, and we have with us here Surina Uppal. I think she's as beautiful as her thoughts, and everything that is beautiful here, we owe it to her. So, young boys and girls, I feel so happy to be here because I have the company not only of the young, unadulterated minds, but I also have the company of the principal of the school, the director principal, and the member of the managing committee. Let me not just sort of sway your mind only to your host school, but we also have a very, very interesting and an important chief guest, and she is lovely, she is young, she's ambassador, she is Miss Shama Jain. Thank you so much for coming. When I met her this morning, I thought, how come a participant is entering the room in the principal's room so confidently? And then when she came nearer, I realized, yes, she's young, but she's not school-going. She is an ambassador. Thank you, ma'am. And we look forward to hearing your experiences, which I'm sure will awaken many of us. When I said that we as adults have failed you, I really meant what we read in the newspapers. You open the newspaper, what do you read? You read corruption, you read things which are negative. You want to go away from this world into the healthy heavens, and that's why I came running here. This is the place of the young, the innocent, the kind, the beautiful, and I'm sure all of you have been taught in your schools and will be useful to you in your leadership role in the MUN here. All the letters in the word leader will remind you probably of me, not to remind you that I'm a leader, but to remind you of the world that you are a leader. Will you remember those? So L stands for loyalty and love. Love is the uppermost, right? And E, I have an award for you. Empathy, empathy. Look at each other. Do you have empathy for each other? I hope there are those whom we called differently abled. Anita, do get them next time so that we can see the empathy. But the empathy can be for each other as well. L for loyalty, E for empathy, and A, very important. Who is A here for this program? Not me. Accountability. Who has accountability here? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. All of you have the accountability to make this a great success today. Raise both your hands. Do you have the accountability? Do your best. Learn a lot. Go home wiser. Okay? And D is for many things, according to me. D is for duty, D is for determination, and D is for discipline. If you have discipline, then you are worthy of being in the United Nations, UNESCO, WHO, wherever you want to be. If you don't have discipline, then you are devoid of the quality that is needed to be healthy and successful. And then comes E. You know the spellings of leader? There's an E there, yes? And what does E come for? I had heard this word in the audience earlier. E comes for energy. You have to be strong, healthy, walking, talking. Even if you're 81 like me, how does it matter? Okay? And you have to be encouraging. Encourage others. Not just discourage them that I am the best. No, you are the best. Tell each other, you are the best. And then the next letter is R. R is respect. I think that's the most valuable word. Respect yourself, respect your parents, respect your teachers, respect each other. Respect the servants that work in your house, respect the bus conductor, respect the ice cream man, respect everyone who is around you, even your little pets. And the next letter is S. Okay? What do you think S stands for? Does it stand for selfish or selflessness? Thank God, selflessness. And then is H. H is for honorable and humble. Oh, sometimes I am at a gathering where the word goes on and on and on. And then I bring them back to the word you. So what should you be using? You or I? You or I? I did this, I went there, I succeeded, I'm a winner. No. You look so beautiful, you're so lovely, it's wonderful to see you, isn't it? As all of you are. And H. So we did respect, we did selflessness, we did H, honorable and humble, and then comes I. I is for innovation, integration. Go and play with the words this evening and find as many synonyms as you can for those letters that make leadership. Okay? And the last one is position. P. P is for position. And of course, pride of work. All of us sitting here love the work we do. At least I do. If you ever describe me, Mrs. Malhotra, it's not what I have earned, but it is the pride of the work I have done in the last 59 years. No one would have been born even 59 years ago among you, maybe one or two, but essentially, I'm telling you, if you want to be a leader, be energetic, and God give you long life, do good work, make the world peaceful, no fights, no fight in Russia, no fight in Ukraine, no fight in China, no fight in India, no fight in Pakistan. Let's all live like one family. And I'm sure next year we are going to invite foreign schools to participate so that you can sit with each other and realize that the same blood flows in everybody's veins and the same thoughts about leadership are shared with each other. I wish you the very best of luck for the coming year, and of course this one as well, because this one is going to be greater than the greatest in the past, and next year will be even greater than this. Not without thanking the two vice principals. I really want to tell you they are not vices, they are wise. They are W-I-S-E. Please change their nameplates. Wise principal, okay? So let's live a world with a lot of confidence, fun, and dance and sing on your closing day, because then MUN will be behind you and you will be ahead of it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You have truly enlivened and enriched us all. Your unflinching dedication has opened new doors, not just in the field of education, but beyond. Ira, some say a person needs just 3 things to stay truly happy in this world: someone to love, something to do, and something to hope for.
Yes, Vivan, as said by Emily Dickinson, hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. So now, here we present to you a musical dance performance that truly portrays hope as a solution to all. Please welcome Ambassadors of Hope.
family? Why do we fight with each other? The tears of a mother have no language. The color of blood is universal. And that's why we say, we are one. We are the world. We are one. We are together. We want peace around the world.
Look who we are. We are the dreamers. We make it happen. Guess we believe it. Look who we are. We are the dreamers. We make it happen. Cause we can see it. Here's to the ones that keep the passion. Respect. Oh yeah. Here's to the ones that can't imagine. Respect. Oh yeah. Gather round now, look at me. Respect and love the only way. If you wanna come, come with me. The door is open every day. This 1+2 rendezvous, all invited. This what we do, how we do. Look who we are. We are the dreamers. We make it happen. Guess we believe it. Look who we are. We are the dreamers. We make it happen. Cause we can see it. Here's to the ones that keep the passion. Respect. Oh yeah. Here's to the ones that can't imagine. Respect. Oh yeah. We are the dreamers. We make it happen. Guess we believe it.
Hope is light. Hope is bravery. Hope is tomorrow.
What a mesmerizing performance. Let's have a huge round of applause for the poetry of Footsteps. Imbued with the value of aesthetics and symbolism, dance is the call to resonate, rejuvenate, and recreate.
Now, we most humbly request our chief guest for the day, Ambassador Shama Jain, Deputy Chief of Position in Rome and ex-UNESCO representative from India, to deliver the inaugural address and inspire all the delegates.
Dr. Shyama Chona, Padam Bhushan, Padam Shri awardee, and a famed educationist. Mrs. Anita Malhotra, the principal of this school. Mrs. Uppal, the dedicated, sincere teachers, and the radiant, ebullient students. thank you to the principal, thank you to the faculty of this school for the invite. And I must say, I'm not going to, well, normally we don't speak from scripts, but I had some thoughts until I came this morning. I must say, until I entered the hall this morning. I was thinking of speaking more along the lines as I did in 2019 when I spoke as the Indian ambassador to Greece at the German International School in Athens. There was an MUN of a number of European schools. We were about 6 to 7 ambassadors from different countries invited to speak. And I thought that would form the thematic outline of my presentation this morning. So I was kind of just running my mind over, should I be speaking about the UN, how it came into being post-Second World War, the spoils of the war went to the victors, the 6 bodies of UN, what UN General Assembly does, what UN Security Council does, what Economic and Social Council does, what the International Court of Justice does, how the Secretary General is chosen. But as I entered this room and I saw it bursting with energy, the emphasis on hope, and the thought and the wise words of the famed, thoughtful educationist Dr. Chona, I just thought, no, I need to put my personal imprint on what I'm going to say this morning. Let me share my thoughts on how I would not use the word failed, because then maybe I'm also including myself as a career diplomat, what we've done all these years. Yes, the journey of UN has been arduous. The UN represents what the member states who constitute it do, what the 193 countries do. UN represents that. But you are, as the young generation, you are indeed the leaders of hope, ambassadors of hope. There's an MUN, that's the ideal UN, the way UN should be working ideally. But believe me, there's a big, bad, ugly world that we all have created where real politics, where geopolitics takes precedence over the principles and purposes of United Nations. The United Nations basically represents some important principles. When the UN was formed, the underlying theme was, and as was enshrined there, to save the succeeding generations from the scourge of war. Have we done that? Think about it right now, the world we live in. Conflict in Afghanistan, right across our borders where we live in. Death situation in Sri Lanka. Political crisis in Myanmar. We have a state on the western frontier which exports counter-terrorism, terrorism, and we have to counter that, unfortunately. You have Afghanistan, a country, after so many years of international engagement, bilaterally or multilaterally, today we see chaos. Whether the Ukraine war going on, you must be reading the war breaking out in Sudan today. Many hot spots, conflict areas in Africa. And it's not only war, physical war, but even endemic poverty, inequality, discrimination and violence against women, violent radicalism, any number of maladies, evils that I can talk about. But let me put my finger on what really underlies all this. Yes, you do need to to be hopeful. You are the future of the world. You are the young generation. I'm going to personalize, because what the UN does, it doesn't do. I'm sure you all can Google and read it. But how I need to be a little different is to make it more personal and recount my personal experiences to give you insights into what the real world is. I must say that when I entered this room until yesterday, I was preoccupied with participation in a global counterterrorism council. It's a kind of a think tank I was a participant on cyber crime and cyber security. It was a grim picture. It's very exciting to talk about the marvels that artificial intelligence, that Internet of Things, that quantum computing, that all this new digital technology, how it's transforming the life, how it's impacting every sphere of economic activity, your entire life, in fact. Think of one thing that everybody would be carrying in this room, so precious it is. It carries all your intimate information. It's your handheld telephone, your cell phone. The moment you hold that cell phone, you are exposed to malware. You're exposed to phishing, but that's very small. What goes on globally, malware industry is supposed to be it's estimated to be $12 billion a year. Nation states indulge in that, non-actors indulge in that. There's the dark web, there are deep fakes, etc., etc. So that is what we were discussing yesterday, and as I entered this room, there's hope, there's energy, there's youthfulness. So I must say that's infectious, and that's what carries us on in this world. Talking about the UN now, there have been conflicts all over. There still are conflicts. Has UN failed? I would not really agree with that, because UN has done its best as it could have. UN is what the member states make it, yes. But UN needs to be reformed, and India is a vocal advocate of that today, because UN is a relic of 1945. It was a post-Second World War structure that was created, and that bestowed P5, as we call them, the permanent 5 countries of Security Council with privilege in perpetuity. Think about it. 5 countries, I hope you all know: US, Russia, China, France, UK. These countries have veto power. In other words, they can override the will, the aspirations of the rest of the countries. They are in 193 by using their veto power. It's a structure which is not representative of the modern world. It's not a structure which reflects the realities of the contemporary world. India today is the 5th largest economy in the world. India is a country with technological prowess. India is a country known for the kind of transformation that's been brought about in our life due to digital progress, our public digital infrastructure, our youth, our entrepreneurship, the digital, the way India proved its leadership during the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, how we delivered vaccines to 115 countries. We were the United Nations, a single country functioning with such alacrity, with such efficiency. Think about that. A country which has 1/6 of the world's population, 1/6 of the humanity lives in this country. And should that country not have a say in the Security Council? Think about it, what an inequitous world it is. So that's the message that every Indian needs to carry. India needs to be at the high table. We are the voice of peace. Think about it, there's one country, a P5 country, which, yes, today provides more aid, more commercial aid to countries in the world compared to all the institutions put together. The World Bank, the IMF, all put together. There's not a country, a P5 member, which gives much more aid. But what's happening with that aid? It's trapping those countries in debt. There's a debt trap. The countries cannot repay that, and then they have to pawn away their infrastructure, etc. That's an ugly reality. And here it is India, which decided to set up a UN-India Development Partnership Fund of $100 million meant for South-South. That's India's leadership of Global South. And today the event that is being held, it's under Youth 20, and that comes under the aegis of G20. India is the chair of G20 this year, but I must say that we must thank the leadership, our political leadership, for the vision, for taking out the message of G20 to all the states of India. Around 200 meetings of G20 have been held in different states so that the youth, the people get engaged in that. And they understand the significance of that, which has not happened in other countries. So it is part of that today this MUN comes under that. And here's India again talking about Global South. India before G20, because G20 is the biggest 20 economies of the world, and India holds an important position of that. They discuss the economic development, they discuss issues like fuel, food, fertilizers. Debt problem is a huge problem. The development aspirations of the vast majority of people and the sustainable development goals. UN was quite visionary when they came up with, after there were Millennium Development Goals in 2000, that is certain goals that you need to achieve. All member countries have to work for that, for a better life, for gender equality, to end poverty, for clean water, for clean environment, etc., for education, etc. And then there were these sustainable development goals. You might have heard of that. These are called SDGs. And today we are in 2023. In 2030, there will be the summit on special development goals. And yesterday, the Secretary General said, we are regressing in the achievement of SDGs, which is a very, which is an unfortunate situation. And that's the result of various factors. Think about those, how each of you, whether you join the corporate world, when finally you pick up your careers, you join the world of art, entertainment, academics, politics, international diplomacy. First of all, I would say each person has immense capacity to bring about change. That's what I realized in 36 years of my IFS career, that each one of you can be a leader in your own respect. If you are dedicated, if you want to make a sincere contribution to whatever you are doing, you make the difference. So each one of you should realize that you are not only an ambassador of hope, but of change, positive change. The world needs that. We need to rise above our narrow, selfish goals. Yes, national interests are important. They would continue to be important. Each state is guided, let's be very clear and pragmatic. Each state is guided by its own national interests. UN is a powerhouse, but where geopolitics is at play. Even a benign organization like UNESCO, which is the lead world organization on education, science, culture, what underlies is the world politics. That's how it works. Whether it is the International Criminal Court, whether it's the disarmament efforts of UN has worked a lot in different areas. It's a it's a huge panoply of issues and areas and sectors in which UN has been engaged. Whether it's, you might have heard of UNDP. UNDP has its development program of UN. It's vast. It's across the world. They work with the governments on bringing about a change. Whether it's disarmament and arms control, whether it's about banning mines. Think about it. When I was posted to West Africa, it's a conflict-ridden geography of the world. I was posted to Côte d'Ivoire. It's Ivory Coast, but it's a French-speaking country. And I was concurrently accredited to countries like Guinea, another hotspot, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. I saw with my eyes in Liberia, I'm just telling you what the real world out there is. I saw young men without, each of them was handicapped. Somebody didn't have an arm, somebody didn't have a leg. I remember I was passing by in my car when I saw that. It was a country which was caught in a conflict, civil war for long, 14 years. Think about it. Violence it marked the life of every individual. How fortunate you are in a democratic, progressive country like India. Think about it. If you were in a country just next door, what would you be? You would not be an ambassador of hope. There's radical agenda. There's unfortunately fundamentalism. Your minds are adulterated even as youngsters. Not only you don't have to wait for adulthood. Think about Afghanistan. Entire country has been displaced. How unfortunate, the misery that goes on there. Think about Africa. When I lived there, each day I thought to myself, how fortunate I was to be an Indian. Believe me. And when I served abroad across different geographies, right from Latin America, Caribbean, to Europe, to the US, to Africa, you know, believe me when I say that, I thought about what my country has given me. And I believe that till today, and I told my son that, I have a young grown-up son, and I kept telling him that, particularly when I joined the Foreign Service, we were not so economically developed, but believe me, what your country has given you, and you will realize that maybe as young person you don't, is the heritage. There's no value you can put on that. The cultural heritage of this country, the ancient civilization is not just a name, it's not just in theory, but the values we've imbibed, they were not really handed down to us as chapters on what India's contributed. In day-to-day life, what you saw. Respect for elders, you grew up with that. Respect for nature and environment is not you wait for the United Nations Environment Program and you talk about energy. You grew up with that, respecting your rivers, your mountains, not wasting. India, we never threw things. We never threw things away. We recycled them. We worked on them. So all these ancient principles which are now being reinvented by the so-called modern developed worlds, we grew up with them. We grew up that Sanskriti, and I lived in different countries of the world, but at the end of the day, I say, thank you, India, for giving me something so precious, something that defines me as a human being, and that's being in India. Yes, it's not so all fine, but think about it, that 1.4 billion people, a democratic country, democratic change, electoral process takes place. You have freedom of expression, of thought. What a pluralistic country it is. It's now that the European countries are changing, but they were until yesterday monolithic countries with one religion, with one kind of civilization, and we We are Hindus, we are Muslims, we are Jains, we are Buddhists, we are Parsis. We are so multifarious. And yet, what makes you one is your Indianness. And that's what you have to carry. And leave that imprint on the world as you go ahead as ambassadors of hope. I don't know whether I need to stop or I've maybe already exceeded, or maybe I'll take 3-4 minutes more, and I would just say the contributions that India has made to the UN, because what I saw when I began my career in Argentina, 36 years, I was a very young girl, 23 years old, straight from the university, and what I saw later, serving as ambassador in Latin America, and then West Africa, and then in Western Europe, in Greece. The world has changed a lot, and India's contribution today is being recognized. Even of a soft power, you know, somehow it was hidden because there was lack of economic development, and then there were those stereotypes. It hurt me as an Indian, as a young girl when I went to Argentina. I'm just sharing with this. This is not to be reported. But I'm just sharing with that what stayed with me for so long. It hurt me. I had started learning Spanish. The first posting in Foreign Service is a language posting. And I had started learning Spanish, so I had acquired wings, and people normally thought I was maybe I was a Colombian, a Mexican. Nobody thought I was an Indian because it was too far an exotic country for them. I went to a shop one day to buy something, and then he said, they speak very Argentinian Spanish. ¿De dónde sos vos? So I said, yo soy de la India. He said, ¿de la India? Hindus, they used to use the word Hindu as a misnomer. You are from India, you're an Indian. I said, yeah, you soy aquí. So what are you doing? Those were the years of terror. I didn't want to identify myself as an Indian diplomat. I said, I'm studying here. He said, oh, India. And then he did something like this, that you are too many people. I was so annoyed and hurt as a young Indian. As a diplomat, you have to respect others. I swallowed my pride and I walked out of the shop. That left an impression on me that you do not realize what country I come from. And today, the same soft power, the same heritage of yoga. The world, the developed countries, yes, they taught you how to be rich, how to have a GDP of $40,000 per person. But they did not teach you the art of living. What do we work for? Think about it at the end of the day. It's happiness. And who taught that the world? India did it. Has anybody put a price on that? Did we ever get a patent for that? Did we ever get a copyright for that? People all over the world now recognize the power of yoga. And thanks to this political leadership, that June 21 was formally recognized at UN under a resolution which was supported by a vast majority of countries recognizing 21st of June as UN International Day. You know what it did? I saw it myself. Different countries, even in Latin America, there were yoga schools everywhere, commercial schools. It almost felt as if yoga originated in Argentina or maybe in Brazil or maybe in US. 21 June as International Day of Yoga, we reclaimed our heritage. It's India which contributed yoga to the world. It's for everybody. In India, we share our knowledge with others. We never patented. We never did copyrights. We believe that intellectual property is everybody's property, and that's the cultural heritage we came from. We shared our vaccines with others when there was a need for it so badly that some countries were hoarding, the developed countries were clinging on to their vaccines, and there we were sharing that. When G20 takes place, we held a 2-day offline conference, Voice of the South. The South is the developing world. The countries in Africa, the countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, the vast majority, small island countries, the least developing countries, and India has been a voice of that. India played a crucial role in the decolonization of the world. When UN was formed, there were, I think, about 51 countries. And then later, it was a rush of countries which joined as independent sovereign countries, and India played a lead role in the 1960 in the decolonization committee. India has played a pioneering role in the economic and economic and social council about sustainable development goals, about gender equality, about disarmament. The world is inequitous. They would talk about a nuclear non-proliferation treaty dividing the world into two halves. Countries which have the nuclear technology so they can proliferate amongst themselves, and countries like India, which is a nuclear weapon state, but you are not NPT. So there have been these discriminations. We need to reform the world to enable it to serve better, to make it a voice of the contemporary world, and India has been playing an important role in that sphere. Imagine, think about it, when there are designated entities identified by the UN as terrorist entities. We were so unfortunate to see that when India was trying to put a recognized terrorist like Hafiz Saeed on the UN sanctions committee, we had a country which blocked that. Who doesn't want to fight terrorism? And terrorism is not only that they are your freedom fighters and our terrorists, that terrorism we keep on suffering in Kashmir and the rest of India, but that's India's problem. It's a global problem. But again, it's power politics. So India, the UN Sanctions Committee, because of the veto power of a country, could not put on that until just, I think, last year or year before last that it happened. I'm just giving you insights on how power politics comes into play. We need a rule-based world. We need a world where we recognize the UN principle. The basic UN principle is sovereign equality of all countries. You may be paying maybe 0.0008% of the UN budget, or you may be paying like the US about 22% of the budget, but you're equal. You have one vote, you have one voice, there's equality. So those principles can really be carried forward if we work in unison. UN has been a voice of international cooperation in several areas, in several themes. UN has done a lot of work on gender equality, on violence against human trafficking, women trafficking, the Convention on Rights of Children, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. It was a watershed in the history of development. So there are various areas where UN has worked well. Of course, it's peacekeeping forces. India has been the largest contributor to UN peacekeeping forces in the world. And let me tell you my experience. I would not really take much time because I think our job is to speak, but I must cut it short. But when I was posted, I take you back to that conflict. When I lived through that, my house as India House was attacked by mercenaries. I lived through that conflict. I had to be evacuated by the UN peacekeepers, etc., etc. At that time, we had 8 Indian Army officers with the UN as blue berets. And I tell you from my personal experience, they were considered the best. I'm not just being over nationalistic, but they were considered the best. They were in different parts of Ivory Coast. They were brought to the control command room when it broke out, when the war broke out. So our officers, the UN Army, and we were the first country in the world to contribute a woman police contingent again to Ivory Coast when I was there. As I told you, that was a country steeped in war for 14 long civil war, a country which was at that time, the president was, then she became a Nobel laureate, Sir Johnson Leaf, I got to know her very well, etc., etc. And she told me, thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, India, for sending us this female-formed police unit. These are CRPF Indian women. A country where UN was engaged in disarmament, a country where police could not carry weapons, and Indian women, Indian police force of CRPF, all women, they were armed. They were protecting the president's office. They were at all important public buildings, but more than that, you know what their contribution was? A society which had been riven by bloodshed, where women had been raped, all kinds of crimes had been committed. Indian women in uniform inspired the African women, inspired the Liberian women that yes, women can play an important role in providing security to others. Women are security enforcers, and that was an important contribution. Anyway, this is one world, one family. So continue carry on, you the youth. It's very energizing for me to be with young people because you are the ebullient agents of change. The world will be your shoulders would carry the responsibilities and the glory of this world. But never forget that basically you are an Indian at heart, and fly the Indian flag high, because that's what you owe to this country. And thank you once again to this school for inviting me here. Thank you.
Ma'am, we thank you from the depth of our hearts. I am sure your magnificent experiences have inspired all the delegates and have opened new avenues for everyone. We really appreciate you taking out time for us. Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable dignitaries, guests, teachers, and dear delegates, we now welcome our adroit president of Lotusmun, Kaina Malik, who will present the exordium of the conference, helping us understand the idea behind Ambassadors of Hope.
Thank you, Vivan and Ira. Greetings to the August gathering. On behalf of Lotus Valley International School, Gurugram, it is my honor and privilege to welcome each one of you to this one-of-a-kind conference where we'll provide each delegate with multifarious dimensions to view the world. I would like to begin by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to our dearest founder, director, principal, Anita ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for all your support, your unflinching support throughout this journey. As ambassadors of hope, it is our duty to work diligently on current global concerns. It is critical to recognize that our grit, determination, intellect, and perseverance is what determines our future. In an era where conflicting interests are rampant in every aspect of life, this conviction to see this world free of inequality and injustice is what binds us together. In order to be able to lead, we must be open to learning in all shapes and forms. This world is facing significant challenges such as achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, maintaining global peace and security, and achieving human rights, advancing them. We have to catalyze change by fostering dialogue, creating networks, and employing innovative approaches. Most of all, change begins at home, with you and me and our paradigm-shifting mindset, with him and her, and their ability to think beyond the conveniences of everyday privilege, and with you and us, where we hold hands, join minds, and thus unite hearts. I thank you all for your commitment, and I wish you all a stimulating, thought-provoking, and enriching conference. Thank you so much. We will soon be giving you a glimpse of how the magic unfolded at Lotusmun 2023, Ambassadors of Hope. Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you so much for the beautiful video, Anirudh, Aryan, and Veer, and thank you, Kaina. As said by William Arthur Ward, activism is our rent for living on this planet.
Since wars begin in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that defenses for peace must be constructed.
Peace must be understood in all its interrelated but theoretically differentiated dimensions as personal, social, national, international, and global. Today, humankind is suffering from multidimensional crises such as religious intolerance, social injustice, ecological imbalance, etc. What we see around us is a race to conquer, oppress, plunder, divide, and dominate others. Do you really think it's worth it in the end?
No, Vivan, not at all. The world is in transition. We are all in this transition. Being in this transition, we must achieve certain things. I'm sure that life is meant for unfoldment, not for stagnation or regression. So let us witness this metamorphosis through cathartic campaigners for peace and sustainability, a dance performance.
You are me, and I am you. We are one, we never really were two, or three, or four, or 7, or 10. We are beings of one flesh previously divided by the prescribed illusions of self-serving men. Male, female, black, white, and brown. Short looking up, tall looking down. Our differences are okay to be celebrated, not divisions to be cursed or reasons to be humiliated. This is our planet, our canvas, our universe. My son, while you were sleeping, the world changed.
बगिया बगिया बालक भागे तितली फिर भी हाथ न लागे इस पगले को कौन बताए ढूंढ रहा है जो तू जग में कोई जो पाए तो मन में ही पाए सपनों से भरे नैना तो नींद है न चला सपनों से भरे नैना तो नींद है न चला ऐसी डगर कोई अगर जो अपनाए समझाए सपनों से भरे नैना तो नींद है न चैना सपनों से भरे नैना तो नींद है न चैना सपनों से भरे नैना तो नींद है न चैना सपनों से भरे नैना तो नींद है न चैना सपनों से भरे नैना 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 सपनों से भरे नैना 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 नैना
What a charismatic depiction of transformation. Let's all shed our inhibitions and applaud this newfound tranquility. Do more than belong, participate. Do more than care, help. Do more than believe, practice. Do more than be fair, be kind. Do more than forgive, forget. Do more than dream, work. With this thought, I now call upon the Secretary Generals of Lotus MUN 2023, Abhi Gupta and Janvi Pandey, to declare the conference open.
Good morning to our esteemed chief guest, Madam Ambassador Shama Jain, our revered school patron, Dr. Shama Chona ma'am, our esteemed founder director principal, Miss Anita Malhotra ma'am, dear teachers and our enthusiastic delegates.
We are your co-secretary generals, Janvi Pandey
and Abhi Gupta.
And it's an absolute pleasure to have you here with us today, attending an event that we have put our blood, sweat and tears into hosting under the wonderful tutelage of our mentors and guides, Sanchana Srivastav ma'am, Dr. Sakshi, Sanchayata Bhattacharya ma'am, Millie Arora ma'am, Priyanka Sandhu ma'am and Neha Sharma ma'am.
Originally, we conceptualized this MUN to have only 7 committees. But look where we are now, with about 20 committees, some of which are pretty ostentatious, and over 450 delegates, a feat we could have only ever imagined accomplishing. We hope that your committee sessions yield constructive resolutions, memorable debates, and discussions, and you take home lifelong memories.
The road to this MUN was paved with difficulties, but it all gave way to this sure-to-be remarkable conference. And we're incredibly thrilled to be able to mark this conference thereby open.
Now, we'd like to show an address from a person who would have inspired many of us to start doing MUNs, the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Thank you for taking part in this Model United Nations Conference and for believing in the power of global cooperation to solve global problems. We need your engagement and ideas today more than ever. Conflict, poverty, hunger and inequalities are on the rise. A surge of mistrust and misinformation is polarizing people and paralyzing societies. Human rights are under assault. And the triple planetary crisis, climate disruption, pollution, and catastrophic biodiversity loss is threatening lives and livelihoods everywhere. But we can turn things around. Humanity has shown time and again that we are capable of great things when we work together across geographies and generations. To do so, we need an inclusive and networked multilateralism, one that ensures young people have a seat and a say in shaping our common future. We need your creativity, courage, and commitment. I draw hope from seeing your generation challenge the status quo and call for transformative challenge. The United Nations is your steadfast ally in striving to build a more just, sustainable, inclusive, and peaceful world for all. Thank you.
Here at Lotus MUN 23.
Now, we'd like to ask all of the delegates here to remain seated as the OC members guide you out. Thank you.
Delegates and EB, please remain seated as we will instruct you when to leave.
Delegates, please be seated. You will be guided with the OC members. Please be seated. Okay, we have Lok Sabha, BCCI, CBSE, AIPPM. No, you go. It's Okay, Lok Sabha, BCCI. To please come down, your OC members will be guiding you back to your committee rooms. All delegates of Lok Sabha and BCCI, please start your movement quickly. EB members can also move of Lok Sabha and BCCI. EB can also move. Lok Sabha, all members of Lok Sabha have not reached. Please start moving, Lok Sabha delegates. Delegates, you will be provided with your breakfast in your committee rooms. Please ensure you do not litter the rooms and throw it in the designated areas, in the litter areas only. BCCI delegates, we are waiting for you. Others are requested to be seated, please. Kindly be seated. All delegates to be seated at the back. All delegates to be seated. Please sit down. Please be seated at the back. BCCI, is any delegate here from BCCI? Please raise your hand if you're from. Please hurry up. Next is CBSE and AIPPM. CBSE and AIPPM members to please come and join the OC members. Others to remain seated, please. CBSE and AIPPM. Jury of Supreme Court, JCC 1 and JCC 2. Jury of the Supreme Court, JCC 1 and JCC 2. EMI members to also start moving. Jury of Supreme Court, JCC 1 and JCC 2, please. JCC 2 members. Is anyone left? Please raise your hands if you're there in the audi.